Hey, I'm Chris. I'm the creator of ZenTransfer. And I created it because I have all of this great gear. Sometimes I even get some good shots. And I was super frustrated because my wife, she always beat me to it. She snapped a photo with her iPhone, and that was shared with friends on social media everywhere before I even had a chance to empty my SD card. And I figured there has to be a better way. I've tested all of the apps. I've tested everything, sort of to make this smoother. And ZenTransfer is the result of that. So basically, I wanted to build a workflow from camera to whatever destination you have that works as quickly as possible. And when you're out and about, there's enough carrying gear, right? So you don't want to carry a laptop and hotspot and all of those stuff as well. So basically, the goal with ZenTransfer is that you carry your camera and a phone, whether that's an iPhone or an Android, and that's all you need to deliver photos super quickly. Whether it's street photography, you're shooting at events, you're doing school photography, you're on press conferences, you're out and about, and you just want to deliver to friends as quickly as possible. So ZenTransfer is an intelligent FTP server that's there in the cloud. There's servers on every continent, so it should be super fast for anyone as long as you have a reliable connection. And it will connect to just about any cloud service, and I'll get to that. So you can see how you can sort of optimize your workflow, control it from the camera, and then get your photos delivered as quickly as possible to whoever is on the receiving end. So here you're seeing my Mac. This is my Sony. This is an A7. And FTP features are available in all of the sort of state-of-the-art models from Nikon, Canon, and Sony. So double check the product manual to see if your camera supports FTP. If it does, then you can use ZenTransfer. So the way to start this is basically bring up your smartphone like I have here. I'm accessing it from my Mac now, so I'm going to use a mouse and click, but that means you can see what's going on. But it's exactly the same if you pull up your smartphone right now. So on ZenTransfer, you'll find a list of the integrations that we have. You can see that ZenTransfer can send to Google Drive, to Adobe Lightroom. Instagram is coming. You can fix Instagram right now. I'll get back to that. Dropbox, OneDrive, and then to the storage services, Amazon S3, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform, if you're sort of into that long-term storage on a high-end cloud provider. The fun thing is really the last one. That's Zapier. And Zapier is an automation and integration service. So with ZenTransfer, you can relay files from your camera into Zapier, and then you can build Zaps to automate just about anything. That could be posting to social media. It could be using services for posting to social media like Buffer. It could be sending an email, putting things into a Google Sheet. Just about anything you can come up with of ideas can be done with Zapier. And it all starts with a file that is either automatically transferred from your camera as you shoot, or after a culling process that you do on camera and then send manually, which is what I'm going to show you. So that's basically what you need to know. ZenTransfer gives you a free test account. We're currently in beta, so reach out if you sort of want to continue the trial throughout the beta version. Yeah, just hit this Get Started Now button to get started. That will take you to a registration form. But since I already have a user, I'm not going to use that button. I'm going to go up here and hit Login. I'm going to type in my email address like this, and it's basically the same thing you do. You just provide a name as well when you're registering an account, but you will always get a one-time password to both validate the account and so that ZenTransfer can know it's really you. So the security in ZenTransfer depends on your email address, so make sure that if you're dealing with really sensitive stuff that you enable multi-factor authentication on your email provider and choose your email provider sensibly. So now in my email client here on the other screen, I have 102400 as my one-time code. And that takes me into the ZenTransfer dashboard. And this is where I set up ZenTransfer and control what it will do. So what ZenTransfer has done already now is to create an account with the ZenTransfer FTP servers. So if you scroll down a bit, you'll see that I have my FTP connection here, and it shows me how to connect. There is one address, no matter where you are in the world, that it will choose the fastest server for you, ftp.zentransfer.io. There's a port, there's a path, there's your username, and my password is currently hidden. So what I need to do now to start using ZenTransfer, and there's nothing more you need to do at this point in time, apart from plugging this into your camera. So I'm going to switch over to my Sony now, so you'll see the background changing here. And this is my Sony A7. And in the menu here, if I go down to this globe, I have my FTP transfer settings. So going in there, you can see that I have a server setup already. So I have enabled FTP. Server setting, I have server 1. If I go into that, you can see I've called that set T for ZenTransfer. In the destination settings, you have the server address. Secure protocol is set to off, and port is set to 21, which is the standard, so that's pre-filled. Then on user info, you have my username and the password. And when you create an account with ZenTransfer, you'll get your own. And actually, if you have multiple photographers, you can connect them all to the same account, and you can create individual usernames and passwords for that, so that you can revoke that later without giving away your main username and password. So then all of those photos will flow through the same pipeline. So when I have that set up on my Sony, and this varies a bit by camera. Let's see if I can go down. Go back. I have to hit the menu button to do that. Let's see. On the Sony, I have a setting here for auto FTP transfer. So this will send every exposure to the FTP server. And depending on your Wi-Fi connectivity and speed, that might be a sensible option, or it might not. So what I've done on my camera as well, there's a small function button, and I've connected that to the FTP transfer. So I can also disable this auto transmission, and then I can cull photos on the Sony and just hit that single button to do an FTP transfer. So that way I can send just a subset of the shots I do. Sometimes it makes sense to just push all of them through ZenTransfer as well. So that's up to you. So what you need now to make this work is your camera, the settings plugged into the camera, and you need a Wi-Fi mobile hotspot. So I'm using an iPhone, and that works perfectly fine. It gets scorching hot after a while, and battery time suffers. And also the iPhone has a tendency to turn off the hotspot if there are no devices connected. So if you turn off the camera, you might need to sort of redo that process. On an Android, those have a tendency to stay on. So I prefer my Pixel and using that as a hotspot. That also gets scorching hot. Battery time suffers, but at least it will do its utmost to serve you until the battery is dead and you're out. If you're doing this a lot and you're spending a lot of time at events shooting and you need the FTP function to just be there every single time, then I recommend getting a dedicated hotspot. They small screen basically. Either get a very cheap phone with the smallest screen you can get and check battery time and use that as a hotspot, or get a dedicated one. And I'm using, I think it's an Asus right now, and that's serving me throughout an entire day. So I'll go through 2 batteries on my Sony, and the Wi-Fi hotspot will be there for a full day of shooting. Okay, so that's the Sony setup. Let me go back here. What I'm gonna do now is just switch over here to, let's see if I can get to my previous photos. So I haven't shot anything new now for this demo. So what you can see here is that in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, you can see that this file has already been sent via FTP. That doesn't really matter. We can send it again, but that's how the Sony tells you that the transfer was successful. So I was taking a hike in the forest areas just behind our house here. Had this shot, and while walking there, and when I got home, all of those photos were already on my PC, so I could sort of continue working when I got back home. And you can see that that green check mark is confirmation of that. If I hit the function key on the camera now, that's going to initiate a new transfer. So I'll do that, and it says performs FTP transfer, and this way I can sort of go through my photos here and hit that button on the photos that I want to transfer. So that's those files are now sent via FTP. You can see it's working here. And while the Sony is working right now, this is the 60 megapixel Sony, and I have JPEG Fine and RAW files, so they're quite big. So processing takes a while. So that's gonna now run in the background. Let me switch back to my Mac. We're back in settings here, and I can show you what the rest of ZenTransfer looks like while we're waiting for those files. They should be coming in now any second. So you can see that we have a connection to Google Drive. So that means files going into ZenTransfer via FTP will be saved directly into Google Drive. So that means on the smartphone that you're carrying with you, you can use the Google apps to access those. Same for Dropbox, same for Microsoft OneDrive. There's a cool integration with Adobe Lightroom, and we were just approved by Adobe for production release of that this week. So this will push to your Lightroom catalog. So if you're using Lightroom on your mobile, or you're using Lightroom Web on a Mac, then those files that you trigger the button on or auto transfer from the camera will be straight into Lightroom for post-production. Then you have Amazon S3, Azure, and GCP. And these platforms are nice if you're sort of doing high volume and long-term storage. Check out their default settings. So they have various tiers, and the hot tiers and their names vary a bit. They're intended for very high volume, right? So if you have lots of access to those files, they should stay in hot, or if you expect to delete them quickly, they should also stay in hot. If you see this as long-term storage, then you can change the default settings on the containers or the buckets or whatever they're called, and set that to colder, cool. There's even archive, and there's even more, which basically moves your files off of hard drives towards cheaper and slower storage. But that means you can save files for years and years and years safely with these providers at quite reasonable cost. Then finally, you have Zapier. We're currently awaiting production approval from Zapier, so you'll have to accept our beta invitation when you click this button, but that as we move into production, that will just continue to work. And then once you've connected ZenTransfer to Zapier, and I'll create a separate video on this later to show exactly how Zapier works and all the intricate details of that, then you can create basically any kind of automation on the back end. There's an API, so you have an API client ID and key here if you're into programming. Next is FTP destinations. So ZenTransfer can act as a relay. So let's say that you're delivering photos from events to news agencies. They might want you to deliver via FTP. You could, of course, plug all of those into your camera and then send to each one of them, or switch which one you're working for. What you can do in ZenTransfer instead is to go in here, and you can create a list of all of those, and then you can just toggle them. So you can say, today I'm going to send to AP and Der Spiegel. So I'll enable that one, and then now a single transfer from ZenTransfer from your camera will open two connections and deliver simultaneously to both of these news desks. So I'm just going to disable that for now and go back here. Let's see, I'll have to go back to the dashboard all the way down. So that's FTP destinations. Yeah, webhooks, for those of you that either write some code yourself or have friends that write code or colleagues that write code, ZenTransfer can post a webhook notification. So that means servers on the other end can be aware that there is a new file in ZenTransfer. All files are stored temporarily in ZenTransfer's servers as well for 24 hours. And I'll show you what the user interface for that looks like. That means you can sort of use ZenTransfer as a temporary storage in order to get the files delivered. And it also means that if one of the transfers fail, we will retry several times before giving up. And the file is safely stored in our servers while we do so. Then you have additional notification settings, and the currently supported method is email. So you can set up a list of email addresses here. So you can see my name and address here. And this one is currently quite annoying because it will push out one email per file. As you see, we're still in beta, so things are changing and improving fast. And this will get smarter so that it buffers up and sends immediate notifications when nothing has happened for a while, and then starts buffering up so that people aren't overloaded with email but still have a feeling that they are on top of things and know that files are received. Sometimes simple is the best, and giving people an email, it comes with a thumbnail and a download link, and it's a super way of telling people that otherwise wouldn't be sort of watching an active system. You can set up additional FTP accounts, as I mentioned for you, so this button is super useful for those of you that have either multiple cameras, multiple photographers work in a team, or just don't want to delegate some work from time to time without sort of giving away your own account. Finally, you can attach metadata. So metadata templates allows you to set your copyright information, other event-specific information. So taking a look at this, you can now see that I have created so basically some licensor information. So this is me, my name, contact number, and so on. And I'm pretending I'll be allowed to choose to shoot the Champions League final, which I want, which then contains this event-specific detail. And again, you have enable and disable buttons on these. So in the setup I have now, it will attach my name, which is in the licensor information, my contact details, information on how to contact me to license a photo, and it will also apply this event-specific metadata. And then now I'm done with the Champions League final. I'll hit disable on that, and now it's just my name being appended to the files that we are going through next. So this way you can have multiple jobs pending, so you could type the email templates on a Mac, which is sort of more convenient than an iPhone. But you can, of course, also do this on your smartphone, and I really like the dictation key, so instead of typing on that tiny keyboard, I'll simply state, yeah, talk out loud. It works at least nicely in English, not so much in Norwegian at the moment, but I'm hoping that will improve. So let's root for Apple doing something there. So hit new template here to create another metadata template, and that metadata will be written into the file using both XMP and IPTC metadata, just in case there's still systems out there that haven't sort of gotten to update to XMP. Good, let's go back to the dashboard. So now you've seen all of those settings, and I know it's a lot, but trust me, just walk through it sequentially, and you'll use one or two of those. And once it's set up, it's set up. So the only thing you need to care about is your camera having that connectivity. On the top here, there's some more features. You have easy access to metadata. You also have what we call the monitor and a browser. And the monitor is basically showing you in real time photos as they arrive. So you can see 7 minutes ago, oh, I've been talking for a long time, we received these two photos that we sent from the camera. They're both JPEGs, 14 to 30 megabytes, depending on the type of shot. And here in destinations, you can see all of the possible destinations. I've currently run out of credits on Zapier, so that's why Zapier is red. You can see this one succeeded, so apparently I'm at the threshold of my limit. You can see it has been delivered successfully to Lightroom. The gray ones means they are not enabled. So OneDrive and Lightroom have been successfully delivered. And there's also a download link here. So now I can download from ZenTransfer's temporary storage, and the file will be available for 24 hours for download from here. So that means you can shoot on your camera, pick up your smartphone, and then do something with that photo on the smartphone with a sort of working with a Bluetooth connection or the app, and then so on. Some of those apps are great, some aren't, and hopefully ZenTransfer can be there to bridge some of that. Then if we go to the browser, and I'm not too proud of this product yet, but we're getting there. And this is sort of a way for you to see all of those files. So the monitor will show you the recent activity, but it doesn't contain all of the files, while the browser shows you all of the files currently stored. So even if you shoot thousands and thousands of photos in a single day, you'll be able to access all of them here in the browser. You'll see thumbnails and previews, and we're using the embedded thumbnails and previews from the files. ZenTransfer also supports raw files if they have embedded thumbnails. And you have your download button, and we can click in on one of these, and a preview is coming, trust me. You can download and you can delete the file, you see some details, and you see all of the destinations. And in one of our coming upgrades, we're adding buttons to these so that instead of automatically sending to all destinations, you'll be able to auto send to some and then manually send to others. So you can use ZenTransfer as a sort of culling location as well. And here you see detailed logging of everything that has happened. So if your webhooks fail or if your FTP servers fail, you'll know exactly what happened, and you'll be able to retry those operations once you've fixed the problem on the other end. So that's basically it. As you can see, ZenTransfer is sort of designed both for mobile and desktop use. There's some areas that I really want to improve, but if I'll switch into the browser here on my Mac, I'll have to log in. Let's see if I get another one-time password. Give me 2 seconds and let that transfer through on the interwebs. Just check my email here. Here we are, and that code is 118069. I hope you don't go around remembering this. It wouldn't matter, but it just helps me saying them out loud. Here you can see sort of the larger browser view. So you can see it's nice to be able to access on a Mac as well. And then finally, you can also access history, which shows you everything that has happened in the system, and you have a very convenient delete button here if you just want to get stuff off. And when you delete, so it's gone from ZenTransfer servers. And you can see here we have various status signals. So partial means that some of these succeeded, but some might not have. And then you would have you can see I have a single success here, and this is all related to my credits with Zapier, so I need to upgrade that plan. A really cool feature I'm using there is I'm connecting Zapier to a product called Buffer. So whenever I send a photo from my camera, that goes into the idea queue in Buffer, and Buffer is a tool to post to social media. So then I can log into Buffer, and I can type some tags and text and descriptions, and then post that photo simultaneously to Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, and so on and so on. So basically any social media app you'd like to use is accessible through that. There is other products like Buffer as well. That was the one that sort of turned up when I Googled that. And it's been nice. So it's a really nice workflow now from camera to either people receiving that, news desks, or my 10-ish followers on social media, which is, I think half of them are my closest family. So that says something about my social media presence. your guys are probably doing better, and as you understand, or hopefully, I'm a better programmer than photographer, but I enjoy taking photos. But I've been a software developer for I think soon 30 years, and I love the work that photographers do. I enjoy that, and I want to just create some tools that makes life easier for photographers. I'm super interested in hearing what you think. What would make ZenTransfer better? I'm hearing that you want a more responsive mobile experience, and I'm working on those screens so that it will be much smoother on your smartphones. And I'm posting my roadmap and changelog publicly. So if you click these links on the top, you'll see everything that is planned, things I need input on, and you can vote, upvote or downvote features that you like or don't think are that important. And there's also a feedback button, so you can write either anonymous or credited feedback. So on any of these features, and I read everything. So trust me, it's not that busy. So I would very, very much like to hear back from you. Also hit the changelog to see everything that has happened, and I'm posting this as I'm updating the software. I'll use this to keep you informed of what is changing, and if there's anything to look out for. Maybe there's new features that you can use in your workflow. So there's a free trial on ZenTransfer, so sign up. That's a 7-day trial, and then there's a very small subscription fee just so I can keep your credentials safe, and then you pay a small fee per file that is transferred through ZenTransfer. So if you use this from time to time, it's a no-brainer. If you transfer tens of thousands of files, you might want to invest in your own infrastructure instead and sort of set up an FTP server and create more advanced integrations, or maybe reach out to me and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so you can reach me if you're a paying subscriber. You'll find my WhatsApp number in your dashboard so that you have instant access to support. You can also find my email address, and I'll be happy to help with any kind of questions or any need, any help you might need. Take care.